Welcome to Supplier Spot Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Join us as we chat with suppliers, park owners, and staff, uncovering insights, strategies, and stories that will elevate your outdoor experience. Get ready for inspiration and innovation in every episode.
Hey there, welcome back everybody. Bobby Sorden with Supplier Spotlight Podcast. I got my next guest here, Mark Koepp with Campground Views. Mark, thanks for being on with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Bobby. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's great. I've been in the industry. I'm going into like my third year now, and I remember the very first time I was ever had knowledge of you. It was one of your Facebook groups, and I joined, and I was working for another company, and we don't really talk about that other company anymore, in my opinion, so it was kind of bittersweet. But I remember I posted a few things on there, and you sent me a message. You're like, hey, just so you know, this site or this Facebook group is not for this. And you were very professional about it rather than, just deleting my post right away. You kind of explained it to me, which really helped me learn. So that was my first interaction with you, Mark. And I always thought, this is a really good guy, really professional. Then I think the first time we met in person was, I remember right, it was Coney 2 years ago, I think. And you had a booth there, and I came up to you and introduced myself. So I can't believe it's almost been 2 years now since we first met. And here we are having a podcast now with Supplier Spot. So it's just great having you on. So I really do appreciate you taking time out of the day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, obviously I'm familiar with your journey and with what you're doing with Supplier Spot, and it's a needed service, right? The owners need something where they can go find the vendors that actually care about the industry and serve the industry. Yeah. So it's also a Herculean task that you're taking on. So, anything I can do to support you, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, and just like we were talking, I'm bringing up the site here, just like we were talking before we got on camera here, I get so much of your feedback. I think I told you, and of course, I'm not a really good schmoozer, butt kisser type person. I don't ever want to come across like that, but I always appreciate everything you have to say, because I've sat in on several of your general sessions at COE and all over the place. And I just really enjoy what you say, because I can tell you're genuine and really for this industry. I mean, if I remember correctly, just last year you bought a Class C, and you've been hauling your family around with you all across the country in this Class C, going to all these conferences and trade shows, showing the industry that, hey, we're part of this together. So
yeah, and our story starts out with RVing, right? My wife and I went full-time in 2009. That I wasn't even in the industry then, and that's where we kind of discovered this industry. And so, what makes kind of our background coming into this unique is that we view everything from the eyes of a camper instead of the campground owner. It actually puts a little bit of some button heads at times too, where an owner is like, no, I want to change this. And we're like, no, that doesn't really serve the camper, right? Yeah. We want to serve that end audience. So, that's always our perspective on everything, is whatever we can do to help those campers out is best.
Yeah. And that's great. I mean, let's start with that. Your story. I know I brought you up here on Supplier Spot. All I did was went in and typed in Campground Views, and I'm pretty sure this is outdated by now.
That's true. It's good though. So what you're seeing right there is, in our journey, one of the things that we know about campers is campers want to know. It's not even just campers, people. You want to know what you're getting into, right? So you want to know where you're going. And for campgrounds and RV parks, that's actually been a hard problem. So there's been a lot of review sites that are out there where, park owners know this. They live and die by the reviews. I got a 1-star review and the guy's a jerk, right? So these owners spend a lot of time on those reviews. The reason the reviews are important is because campers have no other information about park. They're guessing. So I need to read reviews and try to figure it out. Well, the reality is you can short circuit that. All you have to do is show the people your park. Let them, and campground owners know this. People show up during the season. Hey, can I drive through the campground? Check it out, right? It's not a flood of people, but it's people who are into it that want to show up and drive through the park. We do that virtually. So we have this technology. It's the Campground Virtual Tours. It allows somebody to hit play and drive through the park in a video format and then look around. And so that data that you saw there previously was actual analytics from those reports. So that park right there had 1,100 in a single month people book through that virtual tour. That park right there generated $191,000 in revenue in that month alone, with over 24,000 views. That's just one park. Yeah. So we have all these reports now. We're able to pull up the data on all the virtual tours. And it's funny, we're talking offline. One of the challenging things about our industry is this dynamic where I can tell you exactly what a camper wants. I can tell you what they need. But a park operator often knows what they want, what they need, and there's that butting of heads where they're like, well, no, I want to show my office. Well, guess what? Camper doesn't want to see your office. They want to see your roads and your sites.
Yep.
They obviously they want to know you have an office and you have a store and all that stuff. But that's like number 8 on their priority list behind how big are the roads, how big are the sites, how far is it from the pool, like, all those other questions. And so you're on Campground Views right now, and this is a search engine. And I'd encourage anybody who's watching this to go on here and search the city that they're at or the city that they want to go to. Bobby, search your area right here, and we'll kind of look at some results. So it's a map-based search. Once you hit the search button, you're going to pull up a search results page that'll have a map and then the listings. Cool. And the map is the Google map on the left and the listings on the right. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's some pins there. There's some blue and green ones. Mm-hmm. The blue ones are campgrounds that have the virtual tour. So, sometimes it doesn't work well when we're streaming, but if you click on one of those with the little blue icon, it'll pull up a listing
page. Mountain State Park, because this is really cool. And a quick story. We were in the works of getting a Rivian. We were like one of the very first people to put a deposit down Rivian back in like 2017, 18. We then ended up getting it, but Cheyenne Mountain State Park was the very first state park in Colorado that they actually put a Rivian charger at.
Oh, okay.
Their goal is to have, because they have their trucks and SUVs, they want people going to the state park. So I want to pull this one up and see if it works. So just a quick little story on that one. So I just click here on the pin.
Click on the name of the park. Once you click on the pin.
Cool.
And what's interesting about this is we're watching this in a month. All this is going to change. So just so you know, we're in the process of redesigning. Okay. So we have information about the park, and this is something that owners can claim. You can go ahead and close that login box there. And you'll see right there on the right, it says at the bottom right, it says claim listing. So an owner would simply click claim listing and fill out the form, and we'll assign the park to them, and they can post pictures, descriptions, all that stuff. If you scroll down a little bit more, just a little bit more, you're going to see the virtual tour. Now, a video ad will play when you first click it, and we'll let that load here in a second.
Oh, this is cool. I like how it's an ads generated for RV parks and stuff. Oh, Glacier Fresh. I just got Glacier on Supplier Spot last week or 2 weeks ago. I was just talking to her through email this morning. So.
Yeah, they're an advertiser. We're working with a company called Garnet that sells tank sensors it's aftermarket tank sensors for holding tanks on RVs that are accurate. And then we're also working with a company called Waggle that sells pet monitoring systems.
Yeah. Yep, I've been talking with the guy from Waggle as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and so in this case, once you hit play, it's actually checking for availability right now of that state park system. Okay. You can X out that blue box in the background there. And then go ahead and hit play, and then mute it at the bottom left because there's going to be sound over it. Okay. So go ahead and hit play real fast. All right. And now you control it. So you use your mouse and just click on the screen and move your point of view around. This is a full 360 experience. Now the camper knows exactly where they're at, where they're going, what the park looks like, and all that type of stuff. You can hit pause and stop and play to go, and you can use your mouse to actually look around.
Oh, wow. You can even slow it down, too.
You can slow it down and speed it up. Yeah, exactly. So depending on how fast or slow the camper wants to go through the park, they can do that. But as you can see, there's little blue icons there over the sites. If you click one of those, it's actually going to pull up information about that site. And if you click the booking info, it takes the camper into the underlying reservation engine to book that site. Well, so, what this does is it removes all of the hurdles a camper is going to have. You're a camper yourself. That's one of the things that Bobby and I have really kind of resonated on. We're both campers. We're active campers, and we inherently know when we see this. Well, yeah, this is incredibly useful to campers because I can see how big the site is, what the view's like, everything about that, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. So and I'll be 100% honest with you. I've never actually gone into your site and done this before. I've watched it at trade shows and whenever you've had it set up your booth. So I've never actually gone in and controlled something like that. So this is awesome. And
the underlying reason for this, there's virtual tours are not something we created. They've existed forever, right? And if you've ever done a virtual tour on a website where you're buying a house or whatnot, there's those little icons on the ground that you have to click on and move around. Or Google Street View. Google Street View, the reason there's arrows is those are actually photo based. So it's a picture. And so that's why you have to navigate because you're jumping picture to picture to picture. The reason we use video, and this is the only platform that uses video for virtual tours, what we created here. The reason we use video is it gives you an incremental view and the user does not need to navigate through the park. Could you imagine taking pictures and trying to navigate through a park? It would take you'd click 5,000 times and you would never do it, right?
Yeah.
We know that on average, and this is across over 2,500 of these virtual tours, on average, campers view our tours 1 minute and 12 seconds. That's YouTube numbers, and that's on average.
Yeah.
An engaged user on average views 4 minutes of a park on average.
Wow.
So, I mean, that tells you how engaged people are when they're using this.
This is really cool. Now, I know we're in a state park one right now.
Yep.
So a private park, do you host everything on like your own cloud, right? They don't host it on their hosting company server or anything like that. Is that right?
Yeah, we pay a lot of money for server hosting. We utilize Azure as our backend. So we're YouTube for this. We're serving all the data and all the experience up to the camper's window. So if you want to see a park, go to search Launch Point in California, just on your normal browser. So this would be outside of Campground views.
Oh, okay.
This is I want to show folks how it works on a park.
What is it called? Launch Point
RV destination. It's in Southern California.
I'll jump over to my screen. Launch Point, Lake Elsinore, California?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, share this tab.
Okay, yeah, so this is their website. They have a marketing video here on their homepage. This is what we recommend because this is going to make somebody go, ooh, right? That's what your homepage should be designed to make somebody go, ooh. That's the whole reason, because it's the hook, and you got the hook now in them because like, oh, this right? And so then they're going to scroll down on this page, kind of see some stuff, and they're interested, right? Now they're like, oh, this is interesting. I'm interested in staying here. And you'll notice if you go back up to the top right there over that button, there says virtual tour, view the virtual tour.
Yeah,
if you click that, now you're on their website right now, and the virtual tour is loading right in their website.
You embed it on their site. That's great.
Same experience. Yeah. So now the user is on the park's website. They're not on Campground Views. They're on the park's website, and they can go visit that virtual tour.
So basically just on the back end, though, it's pulling in from the server that you have the cloud, or that you have
exactly.
it hosted.
We're hosting it, and
this is great. So this is what I like to see. Rather than you having to link over to a new tab opening when it's embedded, this is great stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so now I got to ask a question though, Mark. You got to have some video of you riding this bicycle somewhere, don't you? I want to see that. I want to see the helmet. I'm assuming you have a helmet, and the camera. I want to be able to see how you guys do this. Do you guys have any of that video footage anywhere?
We don't know, because I mean, the honest to God truth is some of the stuff that we're doing is pretty proprietary. So like we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing the methodology that we use for filming these parks. So yes, we do use e-bikes, but no, we don't actually film ourselves doing it because there's some stuff going on that, we don't really want to share with the world.
Yeah, well, I can see that. Yeah, that'd be cool though. If we just see a quick video of you like riding by on the bicycle or something. But I can
share is we now have a DIY for this. So the service, like, is it cheap or is it expensive? The reality is we know it's cheap when you look at the actual numbers, but it's not. You're going to have to invest money up front, right? And a lot of the upfront fee is just getting a person to your park to capture it and producing the video, right? Mm-hmm. And so we've launched a DIY service where we will send a camera to the park owner. They come over in a UPS box.
Okay.
And it's the camera and everything set up. And
is it like a chest camera, or is it a head camera? Or...
No, we send them a mounting setup. They can use a golf cart. They can use a riding lawnmower. We have to use a riding lawnmower.
It mounts to what they're on. It's not on.
And they mount the camera on that, and they go cruising through their park. And we're producing these now, and they're coming out. So you still have a big golf cart kind of in the shot down low, but overall they're coming out really well, and the parks save a bunch of money in that process, and they still get this amazing experience.
So I gotta ask, and so these cameras, it looks like they're a wide screen in order to get like all this at one shot, right? Is it like a special?
It's a full 360 camera. So there's 360 cameras out there, and so you understand like part of why our technology, like people, we actually have a park owner right now. It's like, I get better pictures out of my DSLR camera. Yes, you will. You'll get better quality out of DSLR camera because your DSLR camera is capturing this. It's not capturing this around you, right? So yeah.
I mean, I don't see why he would complain about this. To me, this is good footage.
It's good footage. Yeah. But Bobby, remember, you're a camper. It's easy for it, right? So there is a disconnect. We get owners who are like, random. I don't know, but it's one of the things that I've been talking about a lot about recently, through the Facebook groups, through Woodall article. I think the most recent Woodall article that's coming out is that topic, that you as a park owner, you need to understand your camper's perspective.
Yeah.
You need to understand where they're coming from. What you're showing here now is that journey, right? So what we did is we brought that user from a cool homepage into a virtual tour to a site, and then give them a direct booking link that drops them into the underlying reservations engine to book that site.
I'm plugging them. This is CampSpot. So CampSpot, do some cool stuff out there. So
yeah, and you can see how we've got the direct link URL. So we're actually utilizing their URL structure to drop the user right on that unit. So the unit they're looking at, they can then go book. I mean, how much more likely do you think they are to book that unit now that they can see everything about it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like I said, the worst thing is when you have to click something and click and click and click, or go to the site and be like, okay, which site was this one on? Okay, let me go find it on, their website. So yeah, again, it's all about the user experience, which I think is awesome.
We are into it's something else I've been talking a lot about, and this one's not resonating yet. We just got data. So we're filming this. Labor Day was yesterday. So we're filming this on September 3rd.
Yep.
RVIA reported last week leading into the Labor Day holiday that expected RV travel over the Labor Day weekend was down 55% year over year. At Campground Views, we get hundreds of thousands of campers every month coming into our website. Like, we have the hard data that I could have told, and I was telling people, middle of July, we saw a drop in search traffic. People were not searching for campgrounds and RV parks. If I run an RV park right now, I have two choices. One, I cross my fingers and hope that I'm going to get guests.
Yeah.
Two, I get proactive and market and drive guests in. If I'm in number two, then I'm looking at services like this. I'm saying, what can I do? If I'm spending $1,000 on Google Ads, I'm driving all of that traffic into my website. Mm-hmm. Does my website work? Does it convince those 1,000 people to actually book? Am I giving them the tools they need to book? If the answer is no, fix it. If the answer is yes, then you should be full already and you don't need to market. So we are heading into the time where marketing counts.
Yep. I 100% agree. And you know me, I was the marketing person for the last company I worked for, and I've been doing marketing my whole life. I started my very first business in 1999, which I still run today, my DJ business. My son's actually taking it over now, which is kind of nice. I don't have to go out on the weekends anymore. So
that's cool.
Well, yeah, I know exactly what it's like to be out there doing the business, and doing the marketing for it and trying to find, like we were talking off camera, it's like, what's the special sauce? I mean, what can we do to make this work? And, I know trade shows and campground and conferences are always a nice way to meet people out there, but it's not always the exact way you're going to start getting business brought to you. So,
park owners, we're going into the off season now, and I just saw some conversation going on within the Facebook group about, what are the best RV shows to attend?
Yeah.
And it's, if you're getting the same results, it's because you're doing the same thing. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results over and over again. So my response to an RV park that's heading to a trade show, like a Hershey show or Tampa, it's exciting. Yeah. There's 10,000, there's 40,000 people here. You and I both know on the digital marketing side, 40,000 people, I can reach 40,000 people for 40 cents a click, right? So I can go do that. Mm-hmm. The thing that a lot of folks miss out on is they miss out on opportunities to partner with other entities that are doing stuff like that. So Anderson Brochure Distribution Service, Don Bennett, he's attending these shows with big old brochure racks. And I've been at shows and watched, people are grabbing more flyers from that than they are from an individual booth. Mm-hmm. Spend the few $100 or $1,000 for the whole series and send him out to distribute your brochures. And you don't spend the time and energy to go down and sit for 10 days at a booth, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to have to get tactical as a park owner in this time that we're in now to bring park to guests in. The economy's tightened up. People aren't spending as freely. There are less campers out there. The whole argument, and I made this argument on the reverse side really actively. During COVID, there was a lot of arguments out there that we have a shortage of campsites. There's not enough available campsites for campers to go out there and visit. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not true. Completely false. There are a shortage of campsites in major urban areas where there's millions of people, but in aggregate, you can always find a place to camp. Yep. And now, with the way the market is, I know this. Somebody's watching this right now. You're not full this weekend. You know it. You have extra sites that are available. You'll tell everybody you're full and you're doing great, but you have sites available. that's going to continue. It's going to get worse. You need to market yourself. So just some
I had to
advice
pull
on
this
that.
up real quick because I understand they're on Supplier Spot as well, with
There we
the
go.
Mercury Tourism stuff. So like you said, I've seen these at all the shows too with Don out there. And the cool thing too about Don is, if I remember right, he's now helping out with Illinois
Correct.
association. So yeah, they're doing some great stuff up there. So excited to see what he's doing with that. And so yeah, it's just cool that it's such a small industry.
We're in a point where, you need to become tactical. Like we were talking offline, like, why do I run the Facebook group? Why do I do these articles for Woodall's? Why do I do all that stuff? And it's to the point, and I appreciate that you notice that when I give these informational sessions, I'm not selling you anything. Yeah. Like, if you want to work with us, great. But I'm here because if you operate your park just a little bit better, and if everybody in aggregate does it a little bit better, guess what? Our industry serves the customer a little bit better. And what's that customer do? They do it again, and they repeat. That's why COVID was so good for us. People had some experience with us, and they realized that we were the way America used to be. People come to our campgrounds because they want to think that this is the way it used to be, and they go there, and park owners know this. They get there and they release their kids into the wild and they run free. But think about that. They feel safe and secure enough at your park. These are parents who literally won't let their kids out of their sight and have GPS trackers on them. But they come to a campground like, gone, kid, here's $20. I don't want to see you the whole weekend, right?
The old saying, when the trailer light comes on, come back home, right? Or the camper light comes on.
Exactly. So, we have a very special industry here, and anything that I can do to help park owners, better operate themselves and their businesses to serve that end customer. We all serve the same end customer. It's the camper. If we keep that camper coming back to our parks, they're going to buy RVs. They're going to do all the things that kind of make this industry what it is.
And that's, to plug you some more on that, that's what I always remember from every single session that I ever saw you at any show across the country. You were talking about how to help the parks with marketing, with, cost per clicks, and understanding Google Business and Google Ads and Facebook. You were always helping them understand that. And never once did you say at the end of it, and if you want a virtual tour, reach out to us, and that's what I like about sessions like that. And I know the campground owners appreciate that as well. So, that's what I just want to tell everybody out there watching. If you go and see Mark at any of these shows, I know you've got some speaking opportunities coming up already that I know I'll be sitting in on. It just come out and watch Mark, and he'll just give you some free advice. That's what it is, and that's why I think a lot of the associations bring you back is you're not a sales pitch general session. You're a person that says, hey, this is what you can do for your park to make it better. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. And nobody wants to be sold anything. Yeah. And the reality is, if you're attending a trade show, you're spending time, money to go to these events. Mm-hmm. The last thing I want to do is get you in a room and sell you something.
Exactly.
I want to give you so much value that you're like, okay, that time and money I spent was well worth it just from that one session alone. And that's the best feedback I get after is, hey, your session was worth the entire trip. I don't care. Everything else is gravy after that. Yeah, perfect. Then I did my job.
And what I've learned too is the fall shows are basically kind of like a mini vacation for a lot of these park owners, because they've been working their butts off since Memorial Day weekend, that they're now going to these shows, and now it's their turn to relax a little bit and have some conversation. And of course they're out there looking for things to bring back to their parks. But like you said, they don't want to be sold on something like, hey, come here and let me show you everything I can do for your park. So I've learned this in the last 2 years, and you can imagine what I always went through, because the last company I worked for was a reservation software, which it seems like there's millions of them out there now. Millions is a big, strong word, but there's a lot of them out there. So I was always trying to figure out how we could set ourselves apart from other ones out there. And now that I'm doing Supplier Spot, I don't have that problem anymore. I'm less like, hey, it's a website that I've designed, I've built, I've made a lot of good connections with people like Mark in this industry that help me promote the site and get it out to make it just a one-stop spot. So that's why I always appreciate everything every time I talk to you. And I'll be honest with you too, Mark. I can say this now. I won't say names, but when I first started with that last company I worked for, a lot of them were like, oh, that Mark Kep, he's just full of this and full of that and full of this. And me as a marketing person, I'm like, that's exactly what you want. And you want to make this person your friend to have him teach you how to do marketing for this business. But these were old school sales guys.
Yeah. So the hard thing about, and this actually, I'll give you your viewers insight on this. So I started that Facebook group. It was under the encouragement of Erin that runs In Town Campground in California. She's like, you should start. And this was years ago, like I think 4 or 5 years ago, even more than that. Like I started the Facebook group. And from the beginning, the intention was simply to add value. This was not about selling anything. It was simply, let's raise all boats, right?
Now I know you have
the problem is that there's a lot of businesses. I'm sorry.
Real quick, I want to interrupt you. I know you have a couple of them. Which one do you want me to bring up that you talk about right now?
Bring up the main one, the marketing and operations, RV Park
RV
Campground.
owners and
Yeah,
managers,
owners and
operations.
managers.
Yeah, I got it right
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I'll bring that one up. Yeah, because that's a good one. I monitor that one all the time now. So
There's now 4,500 members of that Facebook group, and you can see the engagement. Like people are engaged and talk on it.
yeah,
And the whole purpose of that group is to help raise the boat. The challenge is, in this, if you ever see me at a trade show, you'll actually understand my challenge showing up. There are other vendors that view this as the most valuable thing that I offer, and they don't know why I don't allow them to go on there and sponsor and do something. And I worked with CampSpot for several years, and CampSpot did it, like, to their credit, they did it exactly right. They provided value and information, and I was working with Casey there, and they killed it. Like, they did a really good job within the group. Others, though, wanted just me to post ads for them. Hey, post an ad for us. No, I'm not going to post an ad for you. Add value. Like, this is about adding value. And so if the insight I'm giving the viewers, if they're interested in it or not, like it's neither here nor there, well, is that when I show up at trade shows, there are other vendors at that trade show who will not talk to me, will not engage with me, and they will badmouth me because I didn't allow them to come into the Facebook group and post ads.
Yeah. And that's where I looked at it differently. And that's what I said at the beginning of our conversation is I respected you by you saying, hey, this is why we don't want to do this. I'm like, that makes absolute sense. You've already said it earlier. People don't want to be sold stuff. And that's what they're doing is they're advertising stuff to be sold. And there's other groups out there they can do that in. But this is what I like right here.
Well, there's also, Bobby, there's also websites called Supplier Spot too.
Yeah, now just launched it in March, so I'm doing whatever I can to build it up and being the sole person doing it. I feel like I'm doing a decent job so far, but and me, me, I'm a personal person, and I get out there and talk to people and network often. But anyways, like Garrett and I really hit it off. I like him. Your employee that's working for you, Garrett McKinnon. Him and I are like really cool. And so, but anyways, actually, he's going to be with going out to the Carvick Fall Crawl this month.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So Supplier Spot's one of the sponsors for that. I'm actually going to be hosting the trivia there for the campground owners, where the parks that we're going to be visiting. I got questions directly from them, so people will learn a little bit about them the Monday night before we go out and tour them on Tuesday. So yeah, cool way to promote them. But this is one that I brought up just a day ago, this Four Aces RV Park. They said, hey, we're looking for some maps. And right off the bat, they've had so many people already, chime in. And I even chimed in because I had a really good working relationship with Map Squad. And then also there's some other ones out there that are starting to do maps as well. But this is what I think is so valuable about this is just a quick question. And then within minutes, they're getting answers right away. And if I can help out, I do. And I try not to advertise it, but I say, hey, you can message them through Supplier Spot, or you can go right to their website. So. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the value. And that the trick on this Facebook group, I'll give away the secret sauce because this is something I've seen nobody else has kind of keyed in on. Mm-hmm. Is the environment needs to be secure and safe enough for somebody to post their honest question and their honest feedback. And if you can do that within that environment, rock on, that's good. This group survived the last election cycle and it's doing good on this one, which is a testament to a group, because the last election cycle blew up a lot of groups. Yeah. This group stayed together. We're at over 4,500 members now of this group all across the world. We've got people from literally every continent now. Now, it's not like there's billions of people out of Africa that are on the group, but we've got 2 or 3 people that have, glamping parks in South Africa or whatnot that are members of the Facebook group. Do they post a lot? No, that's probably information for them because it's mostly US and Canada based parks, but we're where it's at for camping and RVing. And so a lot of these other areas, they look at us for guidance, feedback, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good segue too. I mean, I know we're going long here, but these are good conversations that I hope people out there watching enjoy listening to. But for those of you who want to get on, and if you're on Facebook, here's the name of it, RV Park and Campground Owners Marketing, Advertising, Sales Discussion Forum. It's this right here. So if you search for that, if you have a park or something, or if you do something, Mark will be the one that approve you. But that's a good segue talking about it, because I think before we started recording that you said your next show, you're going to be at the glamping show here in Colorado, which is my backyard, kind of your backyard too. You're up in Wyoming. You're not too far away. So like you said, I've been there the past 2 years, and what I've noticed in the past 2 years is there's people from all over the world. I talked to some people from Barbados. I talked to some people from Latin America, and a lot of them are wanting to do just glamping, where they have a piece of land and they just want to put something out there that doesn't require a lot of maintenance, electricity, things like that, to do the glamping. So it's just a wide array of people that are coming out with this industry, especially with the glamping
Yeah, glamping's exciting and interesting. The first time David had that show, the question was, "What is glamping?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reality is, if you run Google Ads for any park that's a glamping resort, you know that people actually search for glamping at a
Yeah.
very, very high volume, and so it's something that is a growing market.
Mm-hmm.
Campers are aware of it; they're seeking it out. Instead of an Airbnb or a hotel, it's something different. It's something
Yep.
unique. COVID changed the way people travel.
Yeah.
I was talking about this during the wintertime. The reason we were traveling in the RV to those shows is we were together as a family. We were traveling to them, and I didn't have to deal with the airports. I hate airports. I hate
Yeah.
the security lines. I hate the waiting. I just hate it. I would rather spend an extra day driving in an RV
Mm-hmm.
than the time saved flying in an airplane. And so
Yeah.
I'm not unique. We know this from statistics that there is a measurable amount of people now that would have Sprinter vans or whatnot, and they would prefer to travel via that method. And that's where these glamping resorts and also the hip camps of the world and the Rover, or not Rover Pass, Harvest Host, and all those type of entities in the world,
Mm-hmm.
they're offering a service that RV park owners either don't, won't, or can't provide. Right. This Facebook group, one of the things that pains me is there's actually a post on there right now. We don't need to pull it up, but the person's literally complaining about somebody who pulled in at 9 p.m. in a van with 4 adults and wanted to rent a site. And they're complaining, oh, they're going to get my bathrooms dirty. Well, this is a hospitality business.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to get your bathrooms dirty. And so
Yeah.
there's a bit of some old school mindset in this industry that's changing, and it needs to change rapidly if our industry is going to continue to thrive going forward.
Yeah. I love how you said that too, how you're traveling with your family, because we had a fifth wheel that we pulled, and then I used to pull my boat behind it. So we were close to a little over 80 feet long. But the thing, and we loved the fifth wheel because we go live at the lake for a week or two at a time. We had our generators, and we could stay there for as long as we wanted to. We are now, my last child, I have 2 kids. My daughter just graduated and my son's got 2 years left. My wife and I are already talking about where we're going to get a big Class 8 diesel pusher. And the reason why we're suggesting that is we want to be able to pull like a cargo thing behind us with like my Harley in it, a golf cart. We're even talking about getting one of those little smart cars, the little 2-seater ones that can roll up in there so we can drive around the town. But anyways, the reason why I'm sharing that is I realize how much nicer it is to have like a Class A, B, or C, especially when you have your family and people, because people can get up and go to the bathroom or go make a sandwich or do something where you're not just stuck in one seat belt the whole time. Of course, when you're sitting down, you want them strapped in a seatbelt, but they're able to get up and go to the bathroom while you're driving, which I think is a great concept, especially if you have a family that's with you.
Yeah.
So
we were fifth wheel people too, and then we bought this Class C specifically because we had a newborn baby traveling with us, and we're traveling in the wintertime, right? And so we're just thinking about the nightmare of pulling over in a rest area, having to get up, heat up the unit, use the restroom, and then do that transition. And so that the Class C is nice. Like it's a different camping experience overall. And one of the things that we know about campers is they're all different. Like their preferences, their behaviors, and so it's actually challenging to run an RV park. Like I actually had an idea to buy an RV park, and my wife looked at me. She's like, "You run the Facebook group. You know the crap these owners have to deal with. No way are you buying an RV park." I'm like, "Yeah, it'd be fun." She's like, "No," because the reality is, any owner out there who just heard that is nodding, and they're like, "Yeah, this is not a fun business. It's brutal." And these owners go through a lot. And back to the fall shows. I mean, they get an excuse to go somewhere, and it's kind of a vacation and kind of working for the business. And good God, I'm so done after the end of the season. So it's a tough business to operate for the owners that operate it, especially if it's like their core livelihood. They live on site, like that money is their money, and it's a hard business.
Yeah, it is. I went and visited. I'm not sure if you ever heard of We Like It Campground.
Yeah,
you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
So,
Steven.
Yeah. So, him and I connected really well. The first time we met was at COE a couple years ago, and we really hit it off. Well, I went out to Sturgis. I usually go to Sturgis every year on my Harley, which is in South Dakota, and his park is in South Dakota. So this year I said, "Hey, Steve, I want to come out and see your park." He's like, "Sweet, I'll put you in one of our barrels." I'm like, "What the hell? Or what the heck is a barrel?" And then he sent me a picture, and it's just like a big whiskey looking barrel thing, which has just got some lights in it, and that's it. It's just a place to sleep. I'm like, that's perfect. So I rode out there on my Harley and spent the night in his barrel. We just kind of chit chatted around the campfire. It was really a cool little park he has there. And he's actually talking about getting a splash pad put in. And so another separate business I was talking to you about earlier before we started recording does splash pads. So I was like, hey, I can, get something worked up for you. He's like, well, let's do it. So where I'm going with that whole story is these are the people I met in this industry where he lives on site. His family's there that helps him out with it. And so I was in the same boat with you. I was talking about buying some. My cousin owns some land in Texas, and he was talking about building an RV park. And I was like, at first I was all gung ho, and then I started seeing your Facebook posts. I'm like, do I really want to go down this path? I don't think so. I'll be the camper that comes in and relaxes. So
Yeah.
Well, cool, Mark. I mean, I'm talking a lot here, and I should probably stop. So, but I get on tangents. Well, again, I think everything's great. I love what you're doing with Campground Views. Let everybody know how they get a hold of you. If it's Facebook, Campground, just kind of give your plug of how people get a hold of you.
Mark at campgroundviews.com is my email, or you can connect to us via campgroundviews.com or the Facebook group. I assume you'll post links to that in the description below to the Facebook group and whatnot. Yeah. By all means, our goal is to help you out, and we can support it. You saw the technology we built. We didn't build that to sell something to parks. We actually built it to help campers. Mm-hmm. We know it works. So if you're actually looking for ways to connect with campers and draw them into your park that works, reach out to us.
Oh, it's great. I think it's awesome. So good. Thanks again, Mark, for being on. Thanks everybody for watching. You know how to get a hold of Mark. You can always go to supplierspot.com. That's suppliers with an S, supplierspot.com, and just type in Campground Views and send him a message. It'll go right to his email. If you can't remember what he just said, but I'm sure you can, because you can pause and play back. So thanks again for watching, Mark. Thanks for being on. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Glamping Show in like 4 weeks. Wow, it's already coming up. Again, congrats on the newborn, and thanks for being on.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Supplier Spot Spotlight. Keep shining bright in the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Stay tuned for more illuminating conversations with industry experts. Until next time, enjoy the great outdoors.